There are, in fact, fundamentally three kinds of roles. First, our basic role as a human being. We're all members of the human polis. The Stoics were the ones that introduced the term cosmopolitan, literally meaning a citizen of the universal polis. We're all human beings, we're all in the same place, and we have to take care of the same place.
For a long time now, I have attempted to conduct my life based on an ever-deepening understanding of my own essential humanity, while at the same time doing as best I can to remain dispassionate and resolute in the face of life's many challenges. You might call this strategy one of common sense. I would not disagree. This approach was also described in ancient times and formed the basis for a school of philosophy. That school is called Stoicism, and its core precept is incredibly simple: live in accordance with nature. In addition, Stoicism also describes other concepts which are core to human expression. The most important one being that we are, first and foremost, concerned chiefly with ourselves and our interests, and to ever-lessening degrees the interests of people more distant from us and our immediate family. Following this is the observation that we as individuals depend on our community for our own development, success, and emotional fulfillment, and that we have a moral obligation towards this community to act with virtuous intent. These ideas may seem very simple, and they are. However, the devil is in the details, and when you really start investigating what it means to live in accordance with nature, you'll find that the spectrum of possible interpretations is rather narrow. Not that it's stopped brainlets from latching on to the philosophy. The trouble is, of course, that without a sound understanding of human nature, any common fool can claim to be a Stoic. To me, the immediate impression I get is that the vast majority of those who describe themselves as Stoics are people who read about the philosophy and then proceed to interpret it in such a way that it meshes with the previously established ideology. Biology determines the parameters of your existence, and with it establishes the framework of human morality. G, as measured by IQ, determines cognitive ability, and the Big Five personality traits, although malleable in certain regards, describes the full breadth of your character. To be able to say, truthfully, that you live in accordance with nature, it is required that you have an understanding of what you are capable of and in what settings, while also expressing adaptive behavior. For most people, an explicit understanding of the facts of their existence is unnecessary. They will go on with their lives and exhibit action based on implicit knowledge that leads them down a virtuous path regardless, and God bless them for it. Sophistry and navel-gazing is not virtuous behavior, though, and attempting to foist on people half-baked misconception and even lies masquerading as wisdom is dishonorable, if not outright evil.
In order to live a good life, you ought to know the best that there is to know out there about how the world works, because if you are profoundly misled about how the world works, you're not going to likely live a good life.
Is it to live in accordance with nature to expose yourself to hostile exploitation and abuse by those who hate you? As I have already described previously in laying out the final word on evolutionary ethics, moral universalism is a falsehood. Our morality is a product of the selective pressures present in our evolutionary past, both distant and near. It is through interaction with the environment that successful behavior traits have developed, and it is impossible to ever produce an accurate and comprehensive account of what is good without taking into account the environment. But there exists no grounds at all for the belief that the environments different human populations have developed in across the globe are equivalent to one another. Strict cosmopolitanism is antithetical to living in accordance with nature, as it ignores that different peoples are of different natures. Of course, there is no shortage of idiots who are enamored with social determinism, so it's not entirely surprising that a movement that expressed a sort of proto-nationalism should come to attract those who are true believers in the strict cosmopolitanism expressed by, for example, Epictetus. But it is in this foolishness that they reveal themselves for the pretenders they are.